guys, welcome to Hot Takes with
Kelly.
T.
Emily. So, y'all, I am a fantasy girly, and on our last fantasy tomfoolery group read with us, I cornered everybody into reading Fourth Wing, which turned into Iron Flame. And so we're just gonna do some hot takes so far. These girlies decided to read Fourth Wing and Iron Flame with me. T is gonna wait to read Onyx Storm because Miss Rebecca Yaros, who we call Becky, she doesn't seem to be wanting to tell us, when the next book's coming out. So T's boycotting, and Kelly just won't continue.
Becky with the good books.
We'll talk about Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, and if you want to kiki and chat about Onyx Storm with me, talk to me in the comments because they left me out to dry. Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise.
You knew it was coming. You knew it was happening. You played yourself is what you did on that one.
I think you did. I think you knew better.
I knew better with Kalindra. I expected you to see it through with me, T. I did.
I read spoilers for you, so when we talk about it, I can know something.
Okay. Let me tell you how committed I am to them. I'm still commenting almost chapter by chapter in our buddy read group, so that if they get curious, they could go look at my comments. But I'm also hoping my comments entice them enough to
I knew that's what it was. I knew the game you were playing. I said, she thinks that she's going to sprinkle this in and that me and T are going to get FOMO and jump in. And I was like, baby, no, that's not going to happen.
That's what I was hoping.
And that's the thing. I'm telling Lee, I'm listening to theory. So when we get there, we can really talk about it. But I can't invest. I've already been hung off a cliff twice. She wants me to do it a third time, and then for years. And I just can't hang off a cliff for years.
It's the disrespect for me. I'm just saying.
I'll say this. We're all moms. And one of the reasons Becky gave is that she wants to go mom for a bit. And I can understand.
You should have mommed first and then cranked out these 5 books. You mom in the middle of a series when you have us going crazy. And every
after
book,
we done had
more questions than answers. No, that's unacceptable, and I don't like it.
Well, I'll say this before we really get into it. I feel like there's 2 things that I need to address, or ask the class rather. One, how did you have any preconceived notions, positive or negative, going into this series?
I had never heard of it, so I didn't have a clue. Fourth Wing,
that baffles me.
I never.
You didn't even hear it.
But
well, you know what? But you're not on Book Talk, so I think that might be why.
I feel like if you curate your algorithm enough, you don't see what you don't want to see. So, for example, T is a romance. Urban romance girl. So I feel like your algorithm is very specifically urban romance, contemporary romance, dark romance.
Until y'all started typing in Fourth Wing and on my algorithm, all these people start popping up.
I'm convinced that Becky works for the U.S. government because the way my algorithm flipped on me.
Start literally hitting not interested, not interested, not interested, not interested. Get out of here.
I was 10 words into Fourth Wing and my algorithm just flipped.
That shit is.
I was like, this is so disrespectful.
So I had no idea what Fourth Wing was about. I couldn't. So I didn't have anything to go off of. I just said it was Lee's month to pick a book. She waited till the last minute.
I did. The last week. I did.
And I said, okay.
But we were rewarded because your pick.
But like I said, I didn't have any preconceived notions. I didn't know what to expect.
So let me say this. I think to Kelly's point, even if you curate your algorithm on Book Talk, things will still seep through the algorithm that you might not have curated or wanted to see rather. But Bookstagram, I feel like it's more like, no, you're only going to see what you want. But I know that Becky works for the U.S. government because my bookstagram is a shield, and Fourth Wing content came through my shield. Okay,
The force field was penetrated. Wakanda.
These people on my timeline, if y'all don't get out of here.
Do y'all remember that scene from Black Panther when they realized that they had been breached? And they were like, the shields are down. That's what Becky did. We got caught slipping, and she crept right on through. And I was like,
And that's
who
really
are
disrespectful,
these people?
Becky, and we appreciate our own privacy. So if
Yeah.
you cannot,
If you can back off. I would bumping uglies in the middle of trauma. Because I'm like, y'all in the middle of strife, and it's like, but hey, look at them lips over there. He's sexy. So I'm like, why are we doing this? So I was like, that's not my bag. I wasn't interested.
so here's the moment where I got to be honest and tell y'all that I set us up just to be a hater and I was wrong. Okay, so I am a fantasy girly, and the like the diehard fantasy people cannot stand this book for the most part. And of course, I'm speaking in absolutes, but absolutes doesn't apply to anybody.
Right.
But most of the fantasy people don't like this book. And to be fair, I don't think it's just Fourth Wing. I think it's the whole genre of
Romanticy, yeah.
And I agree, because if the stakes are high enough, to your point, Kelly, right? You're
There's
not
no
going to
time
convince me
for
y'all
it.
have time to bump uglies if it's really life or death. And I'm going to be honest with you. There have been romanticy books I have enjoyed, i.e. Fourth Wing, where I still am like, y'all don't have time for this.
Right.
Like,
You don't have time.
stop playing.
Focus on the task at hand.
So I get it. And so I seen so many negative reviews, or so many about the genre of this book. But I'm gonna be real with you. I also seen the hype for, like, I'm talking about people crying because they try to go to Target and get the third book, Onyx Storm, early, and some Targets were letting it happen, but other Targets weren't letting it happen. And so I'm gonna be real with you. I did it to be funny. It's to be funny, thinking that we weren't gonna like it. And then also, I'm gonna be real with you, I started to see other Black creators who we have similar tastes say they
Yes.
like the book. And so I'm like, okay, well, I mean, what would it hurt if the first two books were on Kindle Unlimited, right? Like, y'all know I'm on a book buying ban. The only thing I spend money on is Kindle Unlimited already. So I'm like, okay. Now, also, we are indie author stands over here. We typically read Black books most of the time. And I was just like, okay, we'll try something different. Let's see what's the worst thing that could happen. We hate
We
it.
like
We bust
it.
jokes about it. But we liked it. We
Oh, upset with you too.
I don't recognize myself.
so
I don't understand the parallel universe that I'm living in right now. I don't.
Yeah.
And the part, so while she infiltrated my algorithm on Instagram, I'm watching these men read the books too. One is on his kid's Kindle, or Firefly.
Yeah, it's in the protective case, and he's laying
You know
in
what
bed.
like, I feel like I
And
should
he
be
was-
reading this with the. But I'm just like, y'all are really into this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there's this one guy, his wife records his like people will be like, oh, I can't wait till he gets to this part. And then she's recording him listen to it or read it. And he's like, no way. Like, he has these very expressive outbursts. And I'm like, okay, so like, tell me more. What's
Yeah.
happening? And I don't like that. So
Yeah.
I'm upset.
And
I agree.
so I remember when Fourth Wing first came out, I wasn't paying much attention. But what came up on my timeline the most was, like, it would be Fourth Wing, and then the book talk would be like, what is Tawny? Question mark. And so we have to get in.
I can tell you what it ain't.
What?
I might not know what it is.
But I know what it ain't.
What do y'all think Zay Zay look like? Clearly, I nicknamed Zay as Zay Zay. What does Zay Zay look like to you?
I see Zay Zay at my family reunion. I don't know about you.
That's all I'm saying. Zayden was dark chocolate to me. I don't know what Tawny is, but Zayden we was here.
So I quite literally had to look it up, and I put Tawny, because I'm big on details. They say he was Tawny, so I went I looked it up, and a Home Depot paint swatch came up. And let me just say that it was a foundation color that someone akin to me would pick up from a Sephora or a Ulta, right?
And it was a foundation color that someone who went to PWIs, everyone thought was my foundation color.
Okay. Okay.
And
Yeah.
it ain't.
Okay. Yeah. So I think for starters, we're only 20 pages into this at this point, and I'm like, okay, so Zay Zay's black.
Now,
And
Brandon, I missed this as I'm reading. Tawny, because they were talking about Tawny with his relic, so I thought his skin was just marred. So I never looked at. It didn't bother me not one bit. Tawny's skin, okay. And so I thought he was like, I thought he had like these maybe like deep burns that went beyond the relic. I didn't know Tawny was a color. So Zayden, in my mind, before we even got started, he was some little white boy. That's what I thought.
But I feel like if you were to go to Google and start typing is what color is, the first one's going to say Jesus and the second one's going to say Zayden Ryerson. I bet those two are going to be the top two searches.
Color.
But I'm gonna be real with you. If you Google the most purchased books, the Bible is always going to be in the top two. The Hobbit and Fourth Wing. Like, I promise you, Google it. Google it. Like,
It's because of that tawny skin, baby. that main male character has tawny skin.
So I will say this: tawny is a color; it's not a race, right? So you know,
Right.
like you can be of black descent and be tawny. You could be you can be Indian and be tawny, right? You could be indigenous and be tawny.
You could be almost any race and be Tawny.
Right?
Yeah.
But I think what's happening is, granted, fan art is just that. It's fan art. And they're starting to they're starting to show like potential cast members. And this is how deep the algorithm is on my computer. People have had little like theories of certain actors, and the actors have little dragons in their bio. And so they think those people are potentially going to be. Ain't none of the people they're talking about playing Zayden Tawny.
Where's the Tawn, guys? I don't see a lot of Tawn.
I don't see Tawny. And so, yeah. So I don't know. Granted, when I read books, I see people in my mind. And Zayden is Zay Zay to me. He's tawny and he's tatted. To me.
Neck tatted. Let me be clear. Let me be specific.
Absolutely.
Boo Boo's got the neck tat.
Yes, Tawny, as y'all keep calling him, he's still very brown skinned to me. Like,
Okay.
Tawny doesn't make a thing. I know they talk about his curls. He got a nice little fade. You know what I mean?
You know me. I love to give everybody locks. Zayden doesn't have locks.
Have locks. He doesn't have a fade or wavy hair either. But
he doesn't have a low
this
cut.
is what's keeping me engaged. The nice body with the fade and the brown skin. So,
okay. I mean, that's the beauty about, what you see. First of all, I think it's deeply weird. Y'all didn't read The Hunger Games, but I remember being in...
Hey, don't be putting us on blast like that.
Oh, okay, well...
Do you see that slick diss?
So it wasn't meant to be a diss. Well, if you would have let me finish, I was going to say I was in high school when The Hunger Games came out, and people acted a plumb fool that one of the characters they casted as a black girl. Right now, I'm gonna be real with you. I don't really remember the way the skin color was described, but I feel like it is so harmful and stupid, might I add, that you don't give people ability,
creative freedom.
Exactly. Like it's all jokes. Even though I'm like, Zayden's tawny, the author told you he's tawny, he should be tawny. At the end of the day, if they cast someone who's not tawny in the film, I'm not gonna go all crazy and hard and start picking.
No,
it's fiction. These people don't exist.
Purple, and that wouldn't change a thing.
Exactly.
And mind you, Liz Taylor played a whole Cleopatra, and y'all wasn't mad, so simmer down.
Well, they're never mad when it goes the other way.
Yeah, I mean,
simmer.
I mean,
what do they need to do to you? They need to go what? What do they need to do to you?
Go ahead and clock out for me.
Go ahead and clock out.
But I will tell you, in this house, the house of tomfoolery, Zay Zay is tawny with necktie.
That's
And he's
what he
brown
is.
to tea
He's
with
brown
necktie.
to me. Which
I'm
to me is
saying.
light brown. He just been out in the sun. He done found him a little island, got a little tan.
Don't get it twisted. So now that we've cleared the air on that and we
Now that
have our
we've
visuals.
cleared the air, I have a few questions for you ladies
Okay.
about Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. You ready?
Okay. Ready?
I'm going to start with T.
Okay.
If you had to survive Vaz Gaiath War College, okay, what would be your strategy? Would you use brute strength, brains, or luck? And why?
So I feel like a lot of it is already luck because I feel like it's rigged to try to take you out anyway.
Mm.
Now the first obstacle, parapet in a thunderstorm,
That was wild.
I might already be out. I might be dealing and I might already be out. But let's say by the luck of the draw, I was hanging out with Rihanna and Violet,
And you got a boot?
and I got a boot, and I made it across.
A boot.
A
Let's
boot.
be clear. A boot.
One boot.
Got one slippery boot and one boot with tread. Okay.
A slipper.
I know I feel a lot like Violet, and not that my ligaments and stuff not strong, but like I just don't have so much strength to exert. So I would have to really play it smart. Now obviously I couldn't play it as smart as she did because she had some inside information that was helping. But I gotta play it. If I want to make it out, I gotta play it smart, and I gotta really, whoever the luck god is, I gotta give her something to help her to help me.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
How about you, Kelly?
I feel like the smart thing to do would be to do it off of intelligence, just because the physical body can fail you at all times, at any time rather. But I think my natural tendency is to be a bully, and so I'm like, I'm just gonna box people. Like, I'm gonna be the one, like, as we're coming across that slippery log in the rain, I'm just gonna, boop.
Oh, so you're Jack. Oh, you're Jack Mark.
Basically,
Big Jack.
I'm
Big
just
Jack
saying,
energy.
I just need people to understand if it's gonna be between you or me,
It's
it'll
gotta
never be me.
Yeah,
It's not gonna be me falling off of this.
right.
And so
You gotta go.
while I appreciate the fact that our girl was like, oh no, she needs a boot, I'd have been like, look at her dumb self out here in Crocs trying to come across the parapet. Like, you look dumb.
In the rain, girl.
That's why you're finna fall, because this
Meanwhile,
is...
Violet only had
Now,
the right
don't get me
equipment.
wrong. I thought it was dumb of Violet too.
It was
Because-
risky, because I'm like, you gonna fall your fool
But
self
my
off.
thing is like, what if Rihanna fell and now you really only got one boot?
One boot. You got a Croc and a Timberland. Like, what are you doing with it?
I will say it paid off though, because the alliance between them.
They ended up...
But that also
But it was
scared me
risky.
because remember her sister was like, don't make no friend. And so I'm thinking like, granted, I know now that not everybody was forced to go. It was a choice.
Yeah.
And like, so everybody doesn't have like that, underlying, let me get you. But yeah, I was like, she's gonna trust Rihanna, and in a moment she's gonna really need her.
Mm-hmm.
Rihanna going to turn that back on her. I was really afraid for that.
Yeah.
What the advice her sister gave was, don't make friends, but have sex as much as you need to, because life is short.
What? You need a stress reliever. Because again, if you remember early on, my issue with fantasy in general is that in fantasy they're like, anyone from age 0 to 100 can die. Nobody's off limits.
You can be 8. Yes.
So Mira was like, listen, you don't have time to make friends, but you can and probably will die out there. So you might as well not go out here sexually frustrated. Get yours before you die. So I could get that advice, because it's like, And again, at the time, nobody really thought that Violet was going to make it, right? Everyone was like basically waiting for every morning for the death roll, waiting for them to say
We're looking for
Violet.
Sorengale.
Sorengale. She's finna go. So I think that's why she was like, you don't know how long you're going to be there, so live it up, boo. Busted wide open.
And she did. And did.
Eventually.
Mm.
I mean, she busted for the right one. I mean, if you finna bust,
If you're gonna bust it, if you're gonna bust it,
this will be for the man with the tattoos on his neck.
Busted for the tawny Zay with the neck tats. That's who you busted for.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Well, for me, I would not be at That's Gaia's War College. I would be a scribe.
And describe
I like
the War College.
T, how does she give us two choices and then she takes option C? She's just like, I'm not going.
Actually, none of the above.
I wouldn't have went. And if I would have taken Dane up on every single opportunity to get out of there.
Hey guys, I can actually get you out of. Okay, something would lead the way.
The church finger. She's like, I'm just gonna.
Do you know that, like, back when vines were a thing, there was a vine with Little Boy. It was like, he's not my dad. I was like, I don't belong here.
You would be the first one I'm hip tossing off because I'd be like, little girl, this is too much. Go on somewhere with all that
Scribes
energy.
don't need you either being who you are, a flake.
Yeah, I wouldn't be there. Now, this is probably an easy one, but who's your favorite dragon so far that we've met? I'll go, because it seems like y'all are thinking. Or you got it, T? Who's your favorite dragon?
My favorite dragon is Big Daddy Terran. And in Iron Flame, my two favorite dragons is Big Daddy Terran and his crazy second daughter, and Donna. Like, those are it.
I seen somebody say, and I'm not taking credit for this because this was on another podcast. They said Terran's a single father.
Period.
He got a baby Bjorn on. He was like, let me strap on my baby Bjorn and put my baby in it to keep her safe.
I got one on my back and one on my front. It's the girl over there looking at him like, get your kids. These ain't my kids.
I'm going to be honest with you. It was Taryn. I'll never forget Taryn roasting Violet in her own head. She's like, there was a scene in Iron Flame where she was like, when she meets Kat, right, Zayden's ex, and she was like, does that make me insecure? Does that make me weak? Does that make me
all three
jealous? He was like,
all three. All of the above.
Yes, it does.
yes, and yes.
And then in the next breath, he's like, I chose you for
but
this.
I chose
you.
You
will not die today. It's like, I like it. It's a balance. It's a balance.
He gives the tough love. He's and it's one of those things where I hate this book because it's so serious in one breath, and then the next sentence,
it's completely.
You are literally quite roasting this girl.
Yeah.
Like, shut up, Violet. I'm not in the mood for you today.
Put your shields up. You better not unbuckle. I will launch.
Oh, and that's the thing. She's all like, okay, I'm going to be real with you. I had a really hard time liking Violet.
Oh.
Violet, I just started actually liking Violet in Onyx Storm. I'm going to be real with you. The first book, all I kept thinking about is, how am I supposed to root for you? Like, typically in a fantasy book, again, I'm going to keep saying the Hunger Games, you meet Katniss, and she's not necessarily super skilled as a fighter and anything, but she has this one thing that she knows she's great at, and that is her bow and her arrow, right? Like,
okay.
Violet from start is like, I'm weak, I'm puny, like,
yeah, I don't know what to do. I'm not supposed to be here. You know, what am I? I'm like, girl.
When she leans on her strength, which is knowledge, she gets through, because that gauntlet challenge, when she used the knife to stick it in to help pull herself up, it was like, you can't do that. Subsection 2 0.5.
Article
Yes.
B,
If I
Yes.
bring
paragraph 7.
Yes, but I think that, and again, I like strong FMCs, and I know
no
everybody
doubt,
can be
no
super
doubt.
strong all the time, but I think I would like it more if she owned her smarts, even when she relies on her smarts, it's because somebody else told her to use it. It's when Taryn's constantly in her ear, like, I chose you because you're smart. Stop
Yeah.
talking. Or it's when, like, it was Zayden, and they were enemies at that point that had to be like, there's always another way. Use your, like, you're probably the smartest person
But
in the
can you
bar.
imagine being at a war college when you had your whole life plan? You were going to be a scribe, and now you're a writer. Your brain is like, girl, child, I don't know. We didn't prepare for this. I
And that's
don't
why
know
I would
what
have
to
went
do.
back.
But I think that also speaks to what you said earlier, Lee, where a lot of diehard fantasy fans aren't real big fans of the romantasy genre, because I remember you saying early on in Fourth Wing, we were probably about 40% in when we started to get introduced to the dragons. And you said, I'm paraphrasing, there is no way in the fantasy world that the strongest dragon is going to pair with the weakest cadet.
Yeah.
And you were like, you were like, there's no way this is gonna happen.
But
and so it's like, when it happened, I was like, this doesn't make any sense.
But I'll say the reason why it happened did make sense though, because he chose her because of the way she protected Andarna. If she did not protect Andarna, he wasn't going to choose her.
Oh, absolutely.
He was very clear about why he chose her. What I thought was going to happen was it was going to be like, well, y'all watched Dragon Tales when we were little. Like, I fly with the dragons in the land of heart. I wish I may. I wish I might. What I didn't want to happen is, but she's beautiful and she has a good heart, so I
For
chose her
sure.
anyway.
Yeah.
That's what I thought was going to happen. Like, but no, like
Yeah, and the fact that she was gutsy because she got a dragon that's a small dragon that can't breathe fire. That's a rare dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Well, right, because they didn't know much about feather tails. They were like, it's just a rare dragon. And it's three big guys coming after this dragon. She could have literally just kept minding her business.
And she was injured.
And she went out of her way to say, not this one. What are you going to do about it? I'm not sure, but you're going to have to go through this.
You're going to have to take both of us. And that's why he picked her. So I can tell that.
Favorite dragon.
Mine?
Yeah.
Y'all already know. I'm the little sister. So I love Andarna.
I knew it.
I love how snippy. Okay, so
that's because you are she is you. Okay, T, we're just gonna ignore Lee for a second.
Okay, go.
Have you noticed the connection? What color is this dragon that she loves?
Golden.
What color are her locks right now?
Golden. Yeah, I know.
You assimilate and identify.
But she's really purple. So let's get
It's
that.
not even really purple.
She actually, you get a different color depending on what's happening. And you're ombre right now, boo.
You're calling me a dragon?
And you're snarky, just like Miss Thing. Little sister.
Once she, after her dreamless sleep, and she got all the words for Taryn.
Yo, she was asleep for like, Iron Flame was 895 days. She was asleep for 890.
She woke up at like 800, was like, what's happening? What's going on, you guys? What's that?
I'm finally awake.
Which was the quote that you liked, Lee? Or what was the one where it was like, can you be something? It's like, well, he was like, well, can you be that and offended or something like that? Like, her whole attitude.
Can you carry a luminary?
Yeah.
That question offends me. Can you carry a luminary while you're offended?
And be offended? When I read that, I cackled. I was like, he is not in the mood for you, little girl. She was like, well, can you do it and be offended? Like,
right. Like, okay.
Because that's not what I asked you, sir.
The question remains.
She is so snarky. But
it was good. The brevity was perfect. to have those moments, it was just like, I'm gonna laugh right now, even though she's about to, everyone's dying.
For sure.
But let's have a kiki.
What about you, Kels? Who is your favorite dragon?
Oh, Big Daddy, for sure.
Big Daddy.
And it's more so because obviously I like the fact that he was always gassing Violet up, but it's the bonded dragon for me. It's I cannot be away from my boo, and I will go AWOL in a minute. You can be on my back or not, but I'm going.
I'm leaving
at dawn.
I'm in the courtyard. I'm landing now.
I'm warming up as we speak. You got 10 minutes to get on my back.
Are you coming or not?
Saying. And just so you know, you're coming. I'm really not giving you an option because we're going. And I think that was a dynamic that I like because with the dragons themselves, so I had mentioned earlier, I was like, I want to try fantasy, but I feel like I want to read something about dragons. Yeah. That was the thing I wanted to do. I was not expecting them to give the dragons personalities.
For sure.
And that was so, it was the aspect I didn't know I needed.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then the fact that they even have their own, or like, we don't answer to, man, we have I was like, no, like, this is like a whole thing. Like, we have a quick meeting real quick. We'll be back.
And I also like that about the dragons. You're not my rider. Don't talk to me.
Yeah. Okay, we don't answer to
leader.
you.
You're not going to put no harness. I can put the harness on myself.
I loved it.
Like, and Sigel, Violet, don't you dare talk to me, girl.
Sigel's like a close second for me because I feel like even though she knew that Violet was Zay Zay's person, she was like, don't get it twisted. I stand 10 toes down for this boy. Play with me if you want to.
Also in Onyx Storm,
I will kill you.
At the beginning, at the end of Iron Flame, we get the big plot twist. This is a spoiler. We get the big plot twist that we find out Zayden ends up turning into a Venom. What is it again? A Venom. He's a Venom. And so in Onyx Storm, Sigel is pissed at him.
Sigel's not talking to him at all.
She's not speaking to him. She's not she's even taking it out on Taryn a bit because it's like my rider, because they're all fated together.
Yeah.
So God forbid he gets to the point where he can't control it himself. He's going to have to be put down.
Right.
And she might have to be the one to put him down.
Right.
Which is going to destroy her.
For sure.
She's just Sigel's just like, F everybody. F you.
Right.
F your girlfriend.
My life is over.
F your girlfriend's dragon, even though he's my man.
Even though that's my man.
Forget
his little adopted child.
Forget everybody. Sigel got big attitude.
Sigel got big attitude, which she has every right to be because that's not the man that I chose.
Right.
I would never choose a Venom, and that's what you've become.
Also, I didn't choose a lover boy.
And that's why I feel like she gives off that, like we like urban romance and things like that, but we always have. Yeah. Because we know those characters where there's like, oh, you have the Dom, like he's the head of the crime family or whatever, but then he has like that boss first lady, right? And she really is the one, like that's Sigel to me. Sigel's like, I hear everything you're talking about, but let me tell you how we really finna do this.
Okay.
So
you don't worry about Zayden. Yeah. I got Zayden. You worry about Taryn.
That's my business.
Okay.
I will never forget the scene. It might happen in Fourth Wing when Violet realized that Sigel could hear her. Mm-hmm. She could talk to her. She's like, why haven't you been answering me? And Sigel's like, because I don't have to.
I don't have to.
Girl.
I speak to Zayden. And he speaks to me. And I speak to Taryn.
And that's enough.
And stay in your lane.
I'm not talking to you.
You worry about not falling off, Violet.
You worry about sitting in the saddle that Taryn had to make you.
You worry about that.
That's crazy.
Yes, she's a close second to me because I was like,
I love
the way she shows up and she basically, it's just the disrespect. Like she would just disregard Violet.
Sigel always chewing on gum, popping on gum. Don't talk. Like, what do you want? Didn't I just see you 7 days ago? Like, girl.
And she's all like, she's coming all humble, like, Sigel, and she's like,
she blowing bubbles.
What?
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 Yeah.
Oh, your
So,
saddle broke. What do you need?
and
Oh,
then the
you're
funny thing
not
is, I
fireproof.
I know there's other
Uh,
dragons. Like, there's Rise Dragon, there's Imogen's dragon. Like, there's other dragons that I will say in Onyx Storm we start to get to know them a little bit more, which is nice.
okay.
But Taryn and Darna and Sigale, that whole relationship will always do it for me
Yeah.
with those three dragons.
It's nice. It's a nice little family. It's a found family dynamic.
It is very much so.
We love a found family.
Kelly loves that.
So yeah, I like it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lee. What's the
No,
next
you're good.
question?
No, go ahead.
When Andarna is still small, a little bit, and they get in that cave, and Varys Dragon finds them, and Sigil spread them little wings and say, "Duck!"
Mm-hmm.
And Violet is fighting with Taryn like she can't do this. He's like, "She's fireproof. She can
She's got
do this.
it.
I'm gonna be real with you.
Have a dragon listen to her."
I know that Violet like flipped out. Remember when she thought Andarna belonged to Sigale and Taryn and they just weren't
And they,
doing
yeah,
that? Even though they said it for a while, I thought that Andarna was their daughter. And granted, that is their daughter. That's just their adopted
Right.
daughter.
right.
Because
Because was like, you hit a hatch.
like
It's like,
that
no.
family dynamic between Terrence Sigale and Andarna is just unmatched.
That's something
Completely.
like it is literally a dragon sub romance thing. Like it's Luca of dragons. She was like, "This is my baby now, Taryn," and he was like, "And since you're my woman, we have a child now. No questions asked.
No question asked.
We're a family."
Like when she was real little, she was standing between, Taryn's front legs.
Mhm.
Just like, yeah, I'm here with my daddy.
Yeah, it's
Dragon,
it's
dragon,
real
where your
cute.
daddy at?
And that's why when she was sleeping and that evil professor was trying to punish Violet for Andarna not coming around, Taryn was like, "I will unalive your dragon."
She's done.
Done.
And that's what I'm saying. Like the way he,
Because you know what? Taryn's a
because
what?
a man.
He's a man.
Because he would stand back for a minute and be like, "I'm gonna let y'all do what y'all do,"
Right.
because I understand that you're at your little war college. Yeah, I understand. But then when he's like, "I'm not gonna take two," there's not gonna be many more.
You're
of these.
literally about to kill her, and I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I'm not burying another rider.
Yeah. So it's like,
Period.
what we're not gonna do. Just so you can do this one and that one, but this is where we draw the
Like
line.
when he puts the that dragon's neck in between his teeth, apologize on your knees.
Now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a man.
Yeah.
So I have one more question for y'all before our quick rapid round. And my question for y'all is, how do y'all feel about Dane Atos?
Now we felt the way in the beginning.
I feel a way today.
Oh, you felt the way today.
Speak on it, Kelly. Speak on it.
Elaborate.
I don't want anyone around me who can't have enough decision-making abilities to know when you have to throw the tradition and all that out the window. And although I know he's like, I didn't know. How many times in this narrative did they talk about how they have been friends since they were like babies? And they were each other's closest companion. They have come up together. So it's like the fact that you just didn't believe anything that came out of my mouth because of what's the little law that they follow? I can't remember what it is. Because of the whatever the rule book is, I can't remember what it's called, but I'm like, I don't care that you came around. Like, I appreciate that you're here, but you really don't have to talk to me ever again.
Right.
Like, I hear your apology and I can forgive you and still not rock with you, because that's the part that ticked me off. And then I did not appreciate when he started using his
signet on her.
His signet on her. And thankfully, Zay was like, "Don't let him touch you." And she's like, "He would never." And he's like,
He was like, "Did he hold you like this?"
Yeah, did he?
Okay.
So that's why I don't like. And again, I'm thankful that he comes around, but I don't like it. No, that to me there was too much that happened in Fourth Wing for me to just be like, oh, well, he's a part of the revolution now. We're friends. No, we're not.
But
Have a seat.
I think because his daddy is a general or something, lieutenant or somebody, colonel. And so I think being brought up in that, you realize like, okay, in order to do that, I gotta go this way. Fine. But I think when he realized, oh, my dad might not be on the right side of this, is when he realized, oh, okay, maybe this is not what I thought it was. It's not as straightforward or it's not as clear cut as I thought it was. And then, but to me, once he said, you trust Zayden with your life? And she was like, yeah. He was like, I will trust him as much as you do. Like, to me, that was a done deal. We've messed this up. We've come back around. You don't want to be with me. You're in love with this man, and you trust him. And
I need a tomato emoji right now.
So
Tomatoes.
I'm a second T here. So back when we first started reading, y'all know we were leaving comments under each chapter. I could not stand Dane, like
Absolutely.
all the tomatoes, because I felt like this girl has to encourage herself. She has to think happy thoughts. She has to, and no matter what point she got through at the college, he was still doubting her. And that was probably so hurtful because, like, at the end of the day, you are my best friend.
You're my person.
You're my person. And you doubt me the most. Like, even when she had overcome the biggest odds, even when she was using her brain, she was poisoning people. It was never enough. And I felt like that was so hurtful. But there was a turning point. And Becky did a really good job at this. And it was right when Violet became a second year. And she thought about all the souls that were commended to Malik and all the people she lost. And even all the ways she's different. And her and Dane had a conversation. And she's finally able to express to him how he felt. And he's like, okay, now put yourself in my shoes. He just went through the most traumatic year of his life. 3/4 of his friends he lost. And they were stronger than you.
Yeah.
Stronger than you, bigger than you.
I literally can't have anything happen to you.
They trained for this. So to put myself in that predicament when you got here, me keep trying to get you out of here was me protecting you in the way that I knew how. Right? Like, and again, I wasn't able to see this until that moment. And I really believe when we go back to the scene when Dane reads her memories. Was he wrong for that? Yes. But we're not going to stay here and act like Zayden don't have the power to listen to people's mind and he wasn't doing it before Violet knew he was doing it. We're not going to sit here and act like that. But anyhow,
we're not going to sit here and act like that.
Yes, no. Because Zay was definitely reading her thoughts before
reading intention is not the same thing as stealing a memory.
Right, because he was like, I just know where your heart is.
Okay, but that's all I know. If you take Dane at his word, the first time he did it, it wasn't intentional.
For sure.
I don't believe that. I think he's been rubbing her brain far
okay,
before.
Mega mind. I don't know. I just feel like justice. Oh gosh, I'm starting to see a pattern with me and the Porter brother. Justice for Dane. Because I feel like us Fourth Wing girlies are a little too rough on him. His only crime was taking a memory. That was a big crime, but he, especially in Onyx Storm, he shows up when it matters, and I do think he could be redeemed.
I agree. I agree he's redeemable. I'm definitely not saying that, but we're talking Fourth Wing and Iron Flame.
Oh, that's
and
true.
He barely makes it out.
That's true. I will say this. This is an unpopular opinion, and this makes me very toxic. I am in book 3 by myself because y'all won't read it.
Toxic for a lot of reasons, but go ahead.
Y'all won't read it.
Let's talk about this reason.
And I'm going to be real with y'all. Zayden and Violet are too happy. They're too happy. Even despite everything going on.
My thing is, how can she be happier now that he's not even human no more?
No, she's not. I mean, but here's the thing. They fight like a married boomer couple.
I'm listening.
They fight like a married boomer couple to the point where they're like all playing games and like they're like acknowledging like who the freak is, who the whatever, and they're like, oh yeah, they're the boring married boomer couple. But everything with them is just too like copacetic.
Yeah.
What I want to happen is I want bye. Hold on, let me look. I gotta please hold.
This speaks a lot to us as people when like they're happily together.
I'm at chapter 20, 33% in the book. What I want to happen is I want Violet to sleep with Dane. I want some chaos. 3 quick questions. I don't want you to overthink them.
Okay.
Fire, just give me this or that. Don't even tell me why. You ready?
Okay.
I'm gonna start with T. Taryn's sarcasm or Andarna's cuteness?
Sarcasm.
Okay. Your turn, Kelly. Same question. Taryn's sarcasm or
sarcasm?
Of course.
For sure.
I'm gonna go with Andarna's cuteness.
Shit.
Imagine.
Of course. Surprise.
Surprise.
Okay, next question. We'll start with Kelly. Xaden shadows or Violet's lightning wielding?
Xaden shadows.
Same question for you, T.
Shadows.
I'm gonna go with the lightning. Surprise. But to be fair, Storm was my favorite X-Men of the X-Men, so I've always like been interested in the ability to control the weather.
You're explaining, and that's not a part.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Did you not make the rules?
That is true. Last question, folks. What was the biggest plot twist? Was it Brennan being alive, Jack still being alive, or Xaden becoming a Venom? T.
Venom.
Okay, Kelly.
I can't explain why. Oh gosh.
Nope, just pick one.
You can explain after we all answer.
Okay.
Jack
being alive. Jack Barlow being alive.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Brennan being alive. I did not see that coming. Also, it would have been Jack, but I had a spoiler. Again, it was on my timeline. It was that video of some of the husband reacting to Jack being alive. Mm-hmm. So unfortunately, I wasn't surprised. If that wasn't a spoiler, it would have been Jack being alive.
Yes.
And I saw the spoiler, but I still was like, you've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. He's alive.
So I was thought he was going to be alive, but I also thought he was going to die again. Like, I thought they were going to be out to kill him again for real. Like, no, we not missing this time. But also, Xaden, for him to be leading the revolution against these very people, and then you become that.
I will say that was a big plot twist, but at that point, Becky had put them kids, because they're 19, 20, they're kids.
Yeah,
right.
She put them kids through so much. It's not even that I didn't see it coming, but I'm like, yeah, that tracks. You hate these kids. You hate them so much.
What was so for Jack, I was picking up. I seen a dragon, and I'm like, if the dragon was super wounded, it wouldn't be out and about. It would be back at the Vale trying to heal and recover, right? Because not every dragon dies just because the rider dies. It depends on how strong the bond is. So I'm like, okay, Jack could still be dead, but maybe not if the dragon is here. And then they had Varys and Nolan in the infirmary behind that locked door. I said, oh, they're trying to bring somebody back to life. They trying to. So I kind of was feeling that already. Now, did I want it to be that? Absolutely not. But I did have a feeling that Jack was going to come back. Because I'm going to tell you, really, watching soap operas growing up, and my mother always said, if you never see the dead
Stefano came back. How many times, baby?
If you don't see the dead body, they're not dead. And so that happened with losing control.
I'm still mad about that. I'm still
That
mad
happened
about
with
that.
losing control, and that happened again with Jack. She was like, he couldn't have survived. And I'm thinking, but what if he did?
And I know this is not a Lady Nisha pod, but the way he came back, like, hey, what's up? You want to go grab a burger? I
No.
promise you, and I punched him in
You
his
know that
mouth.
song? And so you're back from outer space.
That's exactly where he came back from.
And it was like with a straight face and
Mhm.
all the audacity.
Yeah, so we can just be together again.
Like, because you came back to ruin my life. That's what you did.
Period. Because you have
And
a
I'm not
whole
going to stand for it.
family.
And then you took me out of the mansion to the trap, fool.
No, she left the mansion for the trap.
True that. True
I
that.
don't know what we're talking about. Losing Control by Lady Nisha. You need to go read it.
Lady with two eyes, just like Big Daddy. Big Daddy Jack.
And she thick, too. Just so
She's a
you
thick
know.
one. But if you read Fourth Wing, you can handle that.
You can handle that.
That's slight work. But yeah. So that's the hot take with
Yeah. Kelly?
T.
and Lee.